Hi, this is Anton, Window World. Today we're going to be talking about part 2 of my segment on the NFRC label, talking about the U factor. This is the first number that's on your NFRC label. I know this is going to be kind of boring, but like in science class, when the professor gets up there and they talk about all the things about your lesson for the day. But if you would bear with me, I've got some really neat demos at the end that I want to show you that I think will kind of help put this all together. So let me do this explanation here, kind of how the U factor works and what we're trying to accomplish. The U factor range is 0.19 to 1.20. Basically, you're going for the most energy efficient windows to pretty much just a single pane of glass, which has really no insulating properties at all. One of the biggest misconceptions about insulated windows is the fact that if you had shade trees or your windows are all in the shade, that you don't need insulated windows. Well, the thing about it is, you wouldn't build a house if it just because you wouldn't put insulation in it just because it's got shade around the house. Because the thing about it is, with the this is your heat right here, and this is the cold. And the biggest thing is, what is cold? Cold is the absence of heat. So cold and heat react just like a magnet. Your cold draws heat to it because it has no heat to it. So it tries to gravitate the heat to the cold. So when it's cold, whether this is your AC on the inside or this is old man winter on the outside, your heat is trying to get to the cold side. Going back to the when it's 105 degrees outside, it doesn't matter whether it's the sunshine or not, that heat is still trying to get through your window. And so you need to insulate this area right here in order to stop that heat flow. And then if you, like in the winter time, you got your thermostat set at 72, this is what you're heating your house with. And if it's 20 degrees on the outside, this cold is trying to pull that heat right through your windows. So you do need to have insulated windows whether or not you have actual direct sunlight. That actually is a whole different area of your window. But your window is made up of 3 different parts. You have 2 glass panels, you have your seal, top, bottom, sides, and then you have your area here that is filled with your insulating material, which would be, you have three different insulating materials. You got air, argon gas, with your double pane, and then you got krypton gas, which is with triple pane. And so this is your type of insulation that you have there. When you're looking at your different types of air that goes, or gas, however you want to say it, that goes in between your glass, you have different molecule sizes and weight. Your air, you just kind of look at, if a molecule of air is about this size right here. Argon gas, kind of look at that about the size of a softball. And krypton gas, the weight of it, look at it about the size of a basketball. And this is how it works as insulation in your windows like this. As far as if you have air fill, you have just a little bitty air molecules here that's filling this space. Well, think about with the smaller the molecule and the lighter the molecule, when this area heats up, these just start bouncing around all over the place, and they get just a lot of movement. And so therefore, when your heat's coming through, it almost just goes right straight through, and there's really no resistance at all or insulating properties at all. Now, if you're looking at argon gas, you're filling these up with much bigger molecules, And so therefore, the bigger the object, the slower it moves. And it takes longer for it to heat up and start moving. And so therefore, when your air is coming through, it's got to go, your heat's coming through, it's got to come through, and it's got to snake its way around and like that right there, to where, it takes a lot longer for this heat to get from this side to this side. And therefore giving you a, more insulation in your window. Now, triple pane works actually best when it's Krypton works best when it's in a triple pane atmosphere, which means they put one more pane of glass in here, like this, and you're filling up this whole area with much bigger molecules. So it takes a lot longer for these bigger molecules to get to moving, and then also you have another piece of glass in there too, which acts as a barrier for the heat and cold transfer there. So now this is coming through, and it's got to come in, and it's got to make big circles, and really, it takes a long time for them to come through, and so therefore, that's how the Krypton gas gives you a much better insulating properties as you go, and the bigger the molecule. Another way you can look at this right here is if you have a swimming pool, and if you have no water in it, you can walk side to side with no resistance, just as fast as you want to walk, run through it, whatever. You can go through it back and forth. Now, if you fill that same swimming pool up, say waist deep in water, and you try to run across there, you're going to get across there, but it's going to be a lot harder and a lot slower getting back and forth. And for Krypton gas, take that same pool and fill it full of pudding. Now you can get across there, but it's going to be very hard to walk across there, and it's going to be very slow. So it takes a lot more effort for that heat to go through that window. And this works in both seasons, summer and winter both. And so therefore, it's just like insulation in your walls. It doesn't, it provides insulating properties throughout the whole time. Another kind of a myth about windows, insulated windows, is the fact, I don't want this argon gas or krypton gas to leak out. I might get poisoned or kill my dog or my kids or something like that. It's odorless, colorless, and it's non-toxic. And even if it does break or the seal fails and it leaks out, it's not going to hurt anything. With us, if you have a seal failure, all you have to do is just call us and we'll replace it for lifetime at no charge to you. And you can tell if there's a seal failure because at that point, you've seen windows that fog up in between the glass you can't clean, or it just gets a dirty look between the glass. That's due to seal failure. And so therefore, that's what you need as far as insulating your windows. And you say, well, what does that do for me? Well, one thing, it lowers your utility bills, it puts money back in your pocket, and your heating and air doesn't run nearly as often at that point. And so you're saving the wear and tear on your heating and cooling unit. And also it just helps equalize the temperature throughout the whole house. The cold rooms are easier to heat during the winter, and your hot rooms are a lot easier to cool during the summertime. So it just helps even out that heating and cooling. But the only thing that it really, as far as it would, is with Krypton gas, Superman can't get through your windows, and that's one of the safety things you got as far as using Krypton gas. But anyway, that's in a nutshell kind of how your U factor works. You can also figure your R value. There's a formula for that right there. You take the U factor, divide it into 1, and that gives you your R value. So stay tuned, and I'll have some neat demos for you, and I think you'll enjoy them. Thank you. Okay, as promised, I got a demo here that I think is going to be pretty exciting here. We have a single pane of glass right here. This is the one that, like in your grandmother's house or something like that, or even the little bit newer aluminum windows that have just single pane glass. This is the one where we're talking about. It has a U value of about 1.2, around 1.2, something like that. Here we have freeze spray right here. This is to simulate either the frosty cold outside. I don't know how many times you've ever seen a window that freezes up on the inside and outside both. But we'll freeze these up. Get a really good cold spot on right there. That's frosting your windows right there. And we're down to about a -2, -3, -4, something like that right there. And one thing about it, you see there's no insulating properties to this. And on this side right here, you know, it reads, it's now reading -6. So you can see that the cold is coming right through the window. There's no stopping whatsoever. What's on the outside is on the inside. And so not many people have taken a torch to their windows, but we're going to kind of show you what's going to be done here. Maybe. There we go. This is like the heat from your furnace right now. So your furnace is on. You're paying your utility bills, big bucks right here to try to keep that window cold, warm, and keep that frost off of there. And so we'll go there for a minute there. We'll check this out right here. See right there, it's 117, 114, 125, somewhere in that 123. Of course, you don't keep your house this warm, but just kind of gives you an illustration. So whatever's on the inside is on the outside. Now, one thing about it, you can just reverse this right here and think of that being your air conditioner, and the outside temperature is like that right there. So, you know, it works both ways. It's insulated glass works both ways as far as keeping the heat on the inside during the winter and the heat on the outside in the summer. Now, you know, what I usually tell my customers when I go out and visit with them right there, when you have windows like this, is basically you're keeping the birds and squirrels warm, because when you got that furnace fired up and going, you know, they'll sit right here on the window ledge out there, and they'll keep good and warm because you got some good toasty air coming through that window right there. And so that's one of the things right there that is how the single pane, what you're looking at there. Okay, now we have our insulated double pane glass window with argon gas in it. And this will demonstrate just the same things what we did on just a single pane glass, but you'll see a huge difference in what the two will do. Here's our cold spot right here. This, either it's your air conditioning or it's old man winter out there, just really giving you havoc with your cold air. Okay, we're looking at a -4 right there on that side. You come around on this side, and it's 76 degrees, which is the room temperature here right now. So you see that cold air is not coming through. Now, we've got our trusty blowtorch right here. Fire this thing up. And we'll do the same thing right here. We'll give this a good warm up on this side right here. And you see that ice patch is not melting. Okay, we're 114 degrees on that side right there. And we're still, we're about 9 degrees right there on that side right there. So you see, even just the temperature of the room itself is warming it up some, but you're not getting that real quick melting of the ice right there. It's going to take a considerable while for that to even melt coming down like that. And see, we're still looking at 112, 119 degrees, still 114 degrees on that side right there. And as you can see, the ice is still on the other side. So, you know, it takes a long time for this heat to transfer through there. It's slowly coming up. You're looking at 22 degrees right there. And as you remember, when we did the single pane glass, it melted as soon as that torch hit it. So you can see there is a difference, definitely a difference in the heat and cold transfer coming through that glass. So thank you for allowing me to spend this time with you, and we'll be doing some other demos, and our next one will be on the solar heat gain coefficient. Join us today and call us for a free in-home estimate and see why WindoWorld is simply the best for less.